Hey guys, GasGuzler here, and welcome back to another episode of A Quick and Easy Fix turned into an absolute nightmare. As you can see behind me is my $500 F-150, and it's missing a couple parts. This video was not planned at all, but I'm in over my head, so I figured might as well film putting this thing back together. So I mentioned at the end of the last video that I was doing some work to this thing, and I'm pretty sure that I have to pull the head now, but basically it started with my fan clutch letting go and consequently my fan hitting the radiator. So I took that all apart, and then I decided that, well, maybe we should try to fix the exhaust so it's not open headers anymore, and just replace some gaskets, do some maintenance here and there. And to make a long story short, I was putting the manifolds back on, getting ready to put this thing back together, and I forgot to put on the engine hoist bracket and bottomed out the bolt and snapped it. We tried everything to get it out. It will not come out. So now I get to do the liberty of swapping a head. So that's going to be fun. So I picked up a parts engine for 150 bucks. And well, unfortunately it had some water in it. And the head was in not great shape. In the ports, at least, the intake ports. So I managed to clean those up a bit with some diesel and PB Blaster. I'm going to send this thing off to get cleaned. Now, I bought everything to put this thing back together except for the head studs. Those have not shipped yet, but I'm not going to lie, this thing's starting to pay its toll on my account. So you guys could go ahead and watch a couple of my other videos. That'd be much appreciated. But yeah, I think I'm going to start just by pulling the hood off, and I can start pulling everything off the top of the motor. All right, that's off. Holy crap, that thing is spotless. Looks like it's had a valve cover gasket too, so I'm gonna assume that somebody had done a lot of work to this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off all the rocker arms so we can pull out the push rods so we don't bend them trying to take the head off. I'm gonna save all of this hardware and the rockers and probably everything because it's all super clean. So I'm gonna be honest though, these are super tight and don't move at all when they're closed. So the other one did wiggle around a little bit, so that's a little bit concerning. Meaning that this engine is probably better than the one that I bought for parts, so. God damn it. Alrighty, that's all out. I'm gonna start pulling the push rods, and then I don't know if I want to pull the head yet, just because I still gotta get the other one cleaned, and I don't want this to flash rust in the meantime, because it's been ridiculously humid out lately. So alrighty, so I got the accessory bracket off and to the side for now. So I guess next we just take the head off. Alrighty, so it's been like 2 weeks. I'm finally back working on this thing. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take a sanding block and just try to clean up all the mating surfaces on the head, and then we can try to pull this one and swap the new one on. So this is the complete wrong way to do this. You should probably get the head resurfaced by like a machine shop. I don't care. So we're just gonna take this foam sanding block and just... So believe it or not, these didn't even have exhaust gaskets from the factory. It was just metal on metal. Obviously now things have probably warped and those manifolds probably won't seat correctly to this head. So a gasket's definitely gonna help out in that aspect. I'm gonna go ahead and do this for a couple more minutes, and I might even try to do the bottom. So I got the head completely reconditioned. I actually don't even feel a lip at all on any of these. I mean, ever so slightly, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was. So yeah, not bad. I did this, I did the head surface and the thermostat. So yeah, now it's time to try to pull this thing, and it's gonna be super fun trying to get those back bolts out, but there we go. These are scary because as soon as you release the torque, they just start free spinning. And you always worry that you snapped them. This needs to go. I was getting the other head cleaned, and I was grabbing this, it decided to let go, and it smashed my finger into this sharp gasket surface. And well, it completely ripped my finger straight open, and I couldn't do anything for 2 weeks. Cool, that's gone now. I am utterly terrified of that thing now. Here we go, all the bolts are out. I apologize for the wind noise. It's gonna get ridiculously hot outside, so I have the fan system going, but we go. This thing looks like a brand new motor. Well, that was about like 1/8 of an inch from hitting the other head, so pretty glad that didn't happen. Yeah, so that would have been pretty not good, but yeah, here she is. This thing looks beautiful inside. Even the surface looks perfectly fine. I'll probably just wipe it down, throw the head gasket on, and slap the new head on. We did lose one alignment pin back there. I have a spare, so still got the front one though. There she goes. Heck yeah. There we go. Head bolts. I'm gonna go ahead and toss all those in, get them torqued up. Probably do that off camera because my dad's gonna give me a hand. So alrighty, so I got everything torqued up. I took the rockers off. And we're gonna go ahead and throw in our original push rods. Here we go. Let's go ahead and toss the rockers on. Well, this is pretty uneventful, so I'm gonna finish this up. There we go. So now I want to go ahead and toss on the new valve cover gasket so we can put the valve cover back on. But first, I am going to throw some oil on the valves and everything just so when we do finally fire this thing back up, it's not completely bone dry like it is right now. Just got some regular 530. Just going to toss it on everything. Kind of bought this engine without really knowing what I was getting into. And it did kind of end up being full of water, so I tried to clean up the head as best as I could. Not really sure what I'm going to run into with this, but I want to, prevent anything at all from happening. So, well, let me go find that valve cover gasket and we can toss that on. So all I got to do is just... And if the back leaks, I honestly don't care, because all it's going to do is lubricate the rest of the truck, so... Well, I think I'm going to call it for tonight, because it's getting kind of late. I'm exhausted, and my hand is getting super sore. My finger is severely swollen, but yeah, I'm probably gonna go in the house, do some editing, and I will catch you guys in the morning. It's finally time to start putting this thing back together. I also invested in some camera equipment, so you guys should be able to hear me a lot better now, especially when I get far away from the camera. So I got our new intake and exhaust gasket here. I went ahead off camera and ran all the bolts in and out with some PB Blaster just to make sure we didn't snap another one, because I don't want to swap another head. So alright, so we're having a couple very minor technical difficulties, so this is how far I got before everything went to crap and I snapped that bolt. So this right here is our culprit. Let's hope that that does not happen again. Holy crap, I almost did it again. This is the reason why the bolt snapped in the first place. I forgot to put this on. It acts as like a washer. I bottomed the bolt out and snapped it. I wonder if I can just do one at a time. Actually, before I throw the intake on, I'm just going to try to get our Y-pipe hooked up, just because it's going to be way easier with the intake off. Alright, if I could just get 2 bolts on. Well, the whole thing's twisted, but... There we go. Alrighty, so now it's time to throw the intake on. Got the exhaust all buttoned up. I think she's in. I just gotta obviously bolt the rest of it up, but... So now I gotta go ahead and throw on our sensors on the back of the valve cover and the whole vacuum line assembly. Now this is for the EGR and smog, but I've decided that I was going to originally delete both, but only the smog pump's going to go now, because after a lot of research, it's actually better to keep the EGR valve, as bad as it sounds. My only issue is I don't know if this plug on the end is conjoined, so that could be a pretty big problem. So this would have originally ran like this. This would have gone up to the EGR valve. Oh, so I guess what these are is they're just solenoids that pretty much open and close to allow vacuum or not. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug smog pump side of this whole vacuum line assembly. I got all the vacuum lines routed where I think they're supposed to go. Now it's honestly time to just toss a gasket on the lower intake and put the upper back on. Okay, so after about 3 hours, I got the upper intake all bolted up, I think. Now, I really apologize. I know I've been doing a ton of work off camera. I haven't really been filming much. Basically, I'm away at school all week, and pretty much Saturday and Sunday are the only 2 days I can actually come home and work on stuff. So kind of in a time crunch with this truck. It's been in here for like 2 months at this point, and I really want to hear this thing run again. I really want to drive this thing, especially before winter, because this is my only four-wheel drive. So what a lot of people don't realize about YouTube is, let's just say you have a job that'll take you an hour. Filming everything pretty much triples the time it would take. So 1 hour becomes 3 hours, and it's kind of difficult, especially because I am in a time crunch with this thing. So really just want to hear this thing run again. But yeah, I have a couple more vacuum lines to hook up. I have to do some stuff with the throttle body, but hopefully we're going to have this thing running very soon, even if it's not drivable. I just want to make this thing run and make sure all of that work was not for nothing. So let me go hook those up and maybe button up a couple other things and then see where we are. So this upper intake is off of that blown up 4.9 that I had. And for some reason, the throttle cable bracket is different. So we're just going to take off these two nuts on the throttle body and swap it over. There were a couple differences between that truck and this one. I don't really know why. This truck had a steel thermostat housing, whereas that one had an aluminum one, as well as the different throttle bracket. So go ahead and toss this one. Oh, geez. I didn't even look at that. Yeah, it might be worth putting on a new gasket, because this one's pretty bad. Holy crap. Let me grab the new gasket. Now, this one's definitely like way different material and texture and whatever. There we go. Sounds like it's got really low compression. Something's unhappy, but it ran. I don't know why it's like full throttle. Well, it's been about 3 weeks, but after further investigation, nothing was sealing up at all. Shouldn't be able to wiggle that around. So intake is definitely leaking. What I think happened is that little bar right there that holds this side of the intake on is bent, and it's for some reason either forcing it down or up or back or something, to the point where the other side isn't sealing up properly. My other theory is that this lower intake plenum is original to the truck. This was off that blown up 4.9, which shouldn't be warped. However, it could have been, and because of that, not be sealing right. So if that's the case, I might double gasket and take this all off and redo it. So I guess let's pull the intake back off. Let's disconnect everything and see if we can get that to seal up properly. And then we can maybe try to start this thing again without it revving to like 4 grand. All right, so I'm in the middle of taking this thing off. You can tell just from taking out 3 bolts, it already popped up a ton. So this thing was not seating right at all. I actually think what was happening is that bracket on the front is bent outward, so it's trying to pull this whole thing up. Yeah, I'll take the upper intake back off. I do have to unhook EGR and all that, but in theory, I think I know how to fix this. There we go. Well, the first problem is that it looks like half of another gasket already kind of attached itself to this. That's weird. Oh, yeah, that'll do it. So I don't even know how I missed this, but the old gasket is still on this upper intake plenum. I think I was just in a rush to hear this thing run, and I never actually took it off. So I guess I'll scrape this off, sand this thing down. Yeah, I guess that was our problem. All right, I got the whole intake sanded quickly, and I got that bracket off over there. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to slap that back on. Hopefully it seats right this time. All Alright, so I got everything buttoned up. The intake gasket is way more sealed than it was before, so that was definitely our problem. Go ahead and toss back on our throttle body gasket. We should be good for another startup. I got a battery on the charger right now. Alright, I honestly think that's it. I guess we could finish putting her together. I think that's all I needed to see. I took a risk just tossing this head on without having it rebuilt and machined first, but I think we're okay. She's got good compression, at least from what I can tell. I'll spin it over really quickly. I'm gonna call it good. If I gotta rebuild this motor in the future, that's fine, but knowing the 300s, this thing will be perfectly fine. Yeah, I'll let this thing cool down. We can throw the thermostat and water pump back in, the accessory drives, everything, and we should be good. Alrighty, so I got everything sanded down. Now we can go ahead and throw on our new water pump gasket. So what I am gonna do is I'm just gonna flush out the block, but let me tighten down the water pump, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I got everything buttoned up. I just cut the end off of the old radiators just so we can hook the trans lines up to it so we're not puking that out everywhere. And I kind of got the battery rigged up and the solenoid, so hypothetically this thing should drive out of here. We can go park it up by the hose and flush the block out, and we can actually finish putting this thing together. Alrighty, so it's the next day. I got the engine all flushed out. There's definitely some kinks we got to work out. I literally cannot get a thermostat housing on this thing for the life of me. I don't know if I got sent a faulty thermostat or something, but it's almost like it's too thick. And every time I try to tighten this down, it just snaps. So I thought maybe because this one was aluminum, so then I tried it with a cast steel one. Did the exact same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the accessory bracket back on, the alternator, some other small things, and we can start putting the body back together. There we go. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and toss in our alternator. There we go. There we go. And we can work on aligning it again and all that. Alright, so we are back finally after some more time. I got another thermostat housing, and we're going to attempt to put on one more thermostat housing without completely snapping it. So I am reusing the old thermostat because it's got a locking key in it, and I honestly don't really care anymore. I just really want this thing to be back together. So never thought that doing a thermostat housing would be such a tedious freaking job. Well, what that means is I think that's it. We can actually start throwing the rest of this thing together. Well, I'm gonna call that good enough. Oh boy, I actually think it's time for a freaking radiator. Didn't actually think, oh, actually I think the AC condenser has to go in first. Now we can grab our completely shredded AC condenser, which is perfectly fine. Okay, I gotta get bottom bolts because I don't know where they went, but yeah, we can go ahead and toss in our radiator after. All right, here's the moment I've been waiting for. I'm gonna fill this thing up with coolant. All right, so I got everything all kind of buttoned up for now. I honestly think it's time to really take this thing out for a test drive for the first time in months. And she misfired a little bit there. I can't see anything out of this windshield. What are we doing? Might be a little bit low on ATF. Torque converter's locking up. Right off the bat, I can already tell I tightened the steering a little too much because it does not return to straight on its own. It is loud as hell in here though. Super drony. I mean, it just chopped right underneath the cab, but just as slow as I remember. We got heat. Hell yeah. Temps are slowly coming up. Oil pressure's good. Battery's good. Definitely needs an exhaust. I don't have anything mocked up for it yet. Still shifts really terribly like every E4OD I've ever driven. Yeah, steering is very weird. Might just replace the steering box, I don't know. But hey, you know what? I'm gonna call this a success. Proof that these things are immortal, because that thing had rusty valves and I didn't machine anything. Big question is, does it key bang? Oh yeah, that's an excellent way to break in a freaking head gasket. It's fine. No, she runs good though. There she is. Why? Where's that antifreeze coming from? Don't tell me that line has a crack in it. Yup, that line's all split. I don't know how I didn't see that. Look at that. We're gonna need all new heater core lines. Luckily I have them, it's just a pain in the ass to do. Oh well. Other than that, I'm not really seeing any leaks or nothing. Not too shabby. I've been waiting to upload this video for long enough, so I think that's gonna call it. No leaks though, that's the big concern. Well, I lied, the radiator's leaking, but this is also a used one. When I was screwing in the drain right there, it was kind of stripping out, so I think that's what's leaking. But it's fine, we'll get a new radiator anyway. This one's not in the greatest of shape. Not bad though. Did a whole head swap from a junk engine for under 200 bucks. I call that a win. Well, there's definitely gonna be more to come for this thing in the future. It's gonna be sitting out for a while because I gotta wait on parts. It does need a lot still. It needs all new trans lines. I need a new starter harness and everything because it's all just junk. I already had to replace the alternator harness, but yeah. She runs and drives again for the most part. Yeah, like I always say, if you guys enjoy my content, please like and subscribe. This video has been in the works for way too long. Yeah, the $500 plow truck is back. Well, ex-plow truck, but yeah, no, I'm definitely not getting rid of this thing unless something like actually catastrophic happens. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this one, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.